absolutely. So I love Halloween. Honestly,
Hmm.
love is probably an understatement. Obsessed is probably better. It is eat, sleep, breathe, dream Halloween.
Hmm.
And I would get in these really sad lulls in the off season because it just October and Halloween feels like this warm, cozy hug.
Yeah,
And then you go and it's March and you're like, St. Patrick's Day? No, I want something spooky.
I
No
know.
shade to, no shade to
Irish too.
St.
I'm
Patrick's Day.
Irish too, but
Yes,
I understand
me
where you're
too.
coming from.
Me
Yeah.
too. Great holiday, but it just doesn't hug you like Halloween does.
No.
So I just started looking for things that were more all year round. So, like Castle Blood does the St. Patrick's Day, they do Summerween.
Hmm.
So
Like, say, like your earliest memory where you were like, yes, Halloween is my holiday instead of like Christmas, Easter, Valentine's Day. What was it about Halloween that like first drew you?
ironically, my dad is a pastor. So I grew up very religious and
Hmm.
I wasn't really sort of not allowed, but it was just like a shifted holiday, it was
Hmm.
like trunk or treats or
Right.
like when those got later in life and like church functions. And I was never allowed to be anything scary, but I would, turn on the stars, direct TV at night, and I would
Hmm.
watch these horror movies. And
Hmm.
my mom would get Better Homes and Gardens magazines, and I would steal them, the Halloween editions. And
Yeah.
throughout the year, I would like steal them and hide them under my bed, and then I would cut out like the little bats and like the porches that were all
Uh-huh.
decorated. I would make vision boards. And so when I was younger, I like focused on Christmas because that's what I was allowed to do.
Yeah.
And then secretly in my heart, I was like, but I love the spooky. It was just one of those things that like I was always drawn to. I was always drawn to ghosts. I was always drawn to witches,
Hmm.
especially.
Yeah. Like, what is
Hmm.
your favorite Halloween tradition? Like, what do you, I know you and your husband, what do you guys like to do? Or do you have like a favorite Halloween pastime from when you were younger?
We honestly, it's so hard for me to pinpoint one thing
Hmm.
because as soon as the pumpkins are out, I'm at the pumpkin patch, I'm on that hayride, I'm at that haunted house. I think like encompassing the whole season, I love going to a haunted house, a haunted corn maze. Um, I would say like on actual Halloween, we technically cheat a little bit because our town has it the Saturday before Halloween is our trick or treating,
Hmm.
but we love to hand out the candy and we always dress up and we dress our dogs up and we hand out the candy. My husband's family and I, like my in-laws, we do a whole family costume. So that's one of my
That's so
favorite
cool. I
things.
love it.
We've been Beetlejuice.
Ooh.
We've been Mean Girls. We've been Halloween Town 2. We've just been a lot of different things. Last year we were Zoolander.
Hmm.
I wore a wig and a beard. It was great.
Oh,
I looked
wow. Love
fantastic.
it.
No one recognized me. It was so much fun. It's just so fun to dress up as someone else and them not know who you are, and you get to be the weirdo you want to be without
Oh,
having to feel some sort of way.
I'm self-taught. I didn't go to
okay.
college to learn to write. I am a big proponent of those that can do, those that can't teach. If these people knew
Right.
so much, they would be out making millions of dollars and be on the New York Times bestsellers list. What they're doing is simply recycling old information that they learned. And I'm not a big
Hmm.
fan of structured education anyway, because I believe it stifles
Right.
creativity. So that's why I
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
tell people I'm proudly self-taught because my
Hmm.
teachers in school, you know how you get writing assignments in school.
Yeah.
My
Oh,
teachers
yeah.
always told me I had no talent and I would never go anywhere
Oh,
with writing. And that was because I
well
didn't
then.
follow the formula that they gave. I
Yeah.
wrote my own stories. So I always tell
Hmm.
people,
Yeah.
don't listen to anybody. Write the way you write.
Um, well, first of all, the soft launch episodes that coincided with my, YouTube channels, the After Hours YouTube channels, 31 Days of Halloween, did a little soft launch of the After Hours podcast, and officially launched it on Halloween with special guest Hannah of Hannoween Town coming in for a very fun Halloween hangout. And then for episode 2, I had on my friend and Gothic author, among many, many other things, the all-around Renaissance woman, Andrea Dean Van Scoy. So we had some really great conversations, and I look forward to having more amazing artists and authors and content creators on here to just have even more great conversations, because that's really what makes a lot of this stuff fun. That's what makes doing this kind of thing a lot of fun. And one reason why I do it, it's because, I love getting different people's perspectives on things. And I enjoy conversation with people, and I especially love conversations with other creatives, which brings me to the story behind Tiffany's After Hours. Okay. So those of you that have been following me for quite some time know that I also do music of the Gothic, Celtic, and fantasy nature. Some like folk, some folk rock, folk metal as well. And also that I am into living history, reenactment, and that I am a huge history buff. So some of you might already know that about me, and that I do also have another podcast called Bonfires and Castles, which I do cover a lot of history and like Celtic and fantasy themes. So I was doing that for a good couple of years, and and I was having a lot of fun doing it. But then, there were some artists and businesses that I wanted to cover that didn't quite fit into that genre. So I started to kind of think about, how can I also, help lift these friends of mine up. Now, I did have the After Hours YouTube channel, because I did, as I was reorganizing some of my stuff on my music pages, I was also kind of moving some stuff over to what was just going to be a vlogging page, which ended up being Tiffany After Hours, because it's me after hours, after the music, after the historical outfits, after just all of like, music gigs and things that are music and, living history related. And that was the thing too. Like if I wanted to, because some of my friends, who are, horror authors, sci-fi authors, and filmmakers, and, I would have to wait till probably, if I wanted to put them on the Bonfires and Castles podcast, I would have to wait until like maybe Samhain to try and make them fit into the Bonfires and Castles theme. And I didn't want to do that. So I was already kind of like, especially when I was at the VIP tour for Castle Blood, I already kind of had this idea churning in my head. And I was, just kind of thinking about, will I have that After Hours vlog? I mean, I wasn't doing it too serious, but, maybe I might want to like resurrect, pun not intended, but resurrect something there with, with me, writing and doing some stuff for, like the more alternative and, kind of, in a little bit of horror genres, and the haunted attractions that I also love, and paranormal discussion, and, just all of those things. And so when I interviewed Ricky, it was kind of like an experiment a little bit, because I was going to put it on the Bonfires and Castles podcast as like a special Samhain introduction to Samhain episode, and then I was going to put the video on the After Hours channel, and just kind of see where that went, and then also help promote Castle Blood in the process. So I did that, and then shortly thereafter, I became a media ambassador for Castle Blood. And by this time, I was, doing my After Hours channel a little bit more seriously. And I was really trying to see what I can build with it just beyond, okay, this will just be my occasional fun vlogging channel that I don't care if only 2 people watch, So I was, really just trying to, just thinking, okay, I could do something with this that's separate from my Gothic Celt and bonfires and castles stuff, that's separate from the music, that's separate from the living history. Every once in a while, I can, kind of cross post and interweave.
And they double back and discover that the crack is missing, and it has been eaten by a raccoon. A friendly little raccoon found it and decided to try it, and then went on a murder rampage.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh. Yeah, that sounds interesting, because like I said, I saw it on one of your social media posts, and I'm like, what is that? That sounds like it's hilarious. It sounds like
it is.
It's interesting, kind of like a horror comedy kind of thing. And I'm just
it's
like,
a horror comedy.
It scares the crap out of me, and it makes me afraid to sleep with the light off, but it's fun,
The thing is, actually, I think the reason I got more into horror comedy is because I a lot of times thought they were funny, and I guess I wasn't supposed to. Like The Exorcist, I thought it was hilarious. And I thought it was supposed to be funny because it was so ridiculous. Like, I knew that couldn't happen in real life, so that was just hilarious, with her head spinning around in the pea soup and the whole thing. I thought it was hilarious, and I was laughing, and I think that also horrified my mother, but...
Like, what's wrong with you? You're laughing at that,
So now I do a lot of horror comedy, and even if it's, well, with the exception of Midnight, but sometimes even if it's not supposed to be a comedy, I'm the comic relief.
Yeah.
Because you always need a little bit of comic relief, and I usually end up playing that. And he bites them because he's been asleep for a long time and he's hungry. And then he's got a bigger problem. He's crack. He wants crack blood now. So, and it's a comedy. It's a horror comedy.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow, it sounds like it's a fun horror comedy.
It is fun. It's hilarious.